Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all could be with us. Also, want to welcome our radio family who are piping in at Max WYED 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com here in Mississippi. Going to bring in our friends over on IG so they can be a part of our chat for today. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon. I'm really excited about this next guest that we have on Cyrus Webb Presents. He's joined me several times on Conversations Live, the radio show, when I was making my very first trip to Chicago. Had a chance to sit down with him for an in-person conversation. And now he's back to talk about all the great things he's doing here in 2026, how you guys can be a part of that. Want to say welcome to you guys over on the Amazon side. One thing you guys will notice on Amazon is the book by our guest, The New Love Triangle. Allen Vaysberg is joining us today. We're going to talk to him about his love of all things creative and also how he's using AI in a very interesting way to be able to connect with a new audience as well. Stacy, hello to you over there on Facebook. Allen, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Always nice to talk to you, Cyrus.
Well, this is one of those weird things. Hey, Logan Creative, it's good to be to see you over there on IG. This is one of those weird things, Allen, because you and I go literally way back.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about when I was prepping for today, my very first trip to Chicago. You and I had a chance to sit down there, but I first got to know you because of the book that's here on Amazon, The New Love Triangle. Since then, though, we've gotten to know you more as an actor. We've gotten to know you as a host of your own podcast as well, where you're able to interview creatives. And now this year, you're really leaning into what you're doing when it comes to songwriting. What has that been like for you, Allen, to be able to kind of look at this journey that you've been on and how you've been able to share your creativity in different forms?
I think it's just rediscovering the different sides of me and re-remembering that who I am at the core, which is a creative and songwriting. Maybe the latest installment of that, but it was probably the earliest thing for me. People always knew me as the poet.
Love that. And I think that is what is so fascinating about us having this conversation today. Hey, Danielle, good to be to see you over there on IG as well. Because I think the thing is, a lot of times, even here in Mississippi, where the people got to first know me, Allen, a lot of times I'm just the book guy for them because that's what they know me for, my book recommendations, interviewing authors, that kind of thing. Other people know me as the artist in different sectors. What has it been like for you when people hear the name Allen Vaysberg to be able to have their own thing that they have gotten to know you for, and also now being able to discover the other things you're doing?
It's wonderful, and it kind of all is a part of the message of we are many things. All of us are creative. All of us are multifaceted. All of us are multi-hyphenates, and different people in our lives know us in different ways. So it's a pleasure to know and speak to anyone in whatever way that they know me.
Mm. So the words have been a part of your life too. Hello to you, Kendall, customer. Good to be able to see you. And they said, I love that. Yes, we are. Definitely. I think that is the cool thing. When did you first discover that for yourself, Allen, that creating in general was something that you enjoyed?
I think it's as early as I could walk. I have a photograph. I found it recently at my parents' home. It's me, I think, at the age of 3, with a mic in my hand,
Oh, wow.
talking in front of a crowd. So I think it's just been always who I am. And I found, I think, my first poem that I wrote. I was about 8 years old, and the poem that I wrote is followed quickly by a second poem because I showed this one to my brother. He did not believe that I could write it, so I responded in a poetic way of saying, "This is me proving it to you that I can." So it's always been me, and then I've gotten away from it and gotten back into it. But the more and more I discovered who I am, the more it's about embracing the different parts of me with creativity at the core.
Yeah, and that's so interesting about about what you shared about the photo with the microphone. My family mentioned something to me I had totally forgotten about, when I was young, interviewing my toys.
Wow.
I didn't remember that.
But I am not surprised at all.
Yeah.
That made perfect sense to me.
Right, right. So speaking of that, that's a great segue to making sense because I think what's so interesting, as I mentioned when I was there in Chicago, and I sat down with you and you introduced me to some others that were friends of yours in the acting community. When you told me about you were going to be doing a podcast where you're interviewing those, that are actors and in different, arenas, I was not surprised. What has that been like for you? It seems like it's been a natural progression for you, but what was it like for you to go from acting to then being on this side of the microphone, interviewing those and sharing their stories too?
It's wonderful because, like in your case, it's all about conversations and connection with people. And
Yeah,
I find that that's what I enjoy tremendously is just getting to understand somebody's story and understanding how they came to use their gifts and bring them into the world and what they had to go through because it's almost never an easy journey.
right.
So, an opportunity to, instead of talking, which is very natural for me, and my wife keeps reminding me to listen more.
Yeah.
This gave me a chance to sit back and listen more to others and really understand their part of life.
Yeah. And I think that again says a whole lot, Alan, because again, that connection to people.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
think music, as we kind of talk about now, how you're kind of beginning 2026. I've always said, even though I love the written word, music to me is that universal language that cuts through so much and connects people. When did you first discover that love of music for yourself?
I always loved it. So I can't pinpoint a specific time in my life because I always loved it, and music has been a constant. What was unfortunate for me is that I am not a great singer, so
Yeah,
I couldn't utilize that, and I don't play any musical instruments. So
yeah,
for me, it was always writing and lyrics and utilizing that aspect that I am really connected to in order to create something.
yeah.
So, but music has been a constant forever.
Love that. Speaking of music, have a recording artist joining us over there on IG. Hey, Zena, good to be to see you. I met Zena in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Now it's hard to believe it's been 2 years ago. Hello to you, King Big Bearsman, as well over there on IG. See you guys over there on YouTube as well. You guys have any questions or comments for Alan? Make sure you guys put those in the chat. We're about to get into a really fascinating conversation. And ironically, Alan, the conversation you and I are going to be having here in a moment about AI is something I've never had on any of my platforms before, because as I've told people, AI is not something that I have used in the realest of sense. And what I mean by that is, of course, I use, Google Maps when I'm traveling, but that's pretty much the extent of it. I've never used ChatGPT. I've never used any of these other platforms. Not that I have anything against them. It just
Mhm.
hasn't fit into my workflow, or I haven't seen a need for it to include it. I want to talk about the emergence of entertainment and AI. These are some fascinating conversations that are going on right now. So talk to us about for yourself. I know that you are into technology. Have you always had a welcoming approach when it comes to AI and using it?
I believe so. I did not have any negative opinions of AI or what it could mean to this world when I started using it. I started using it and seeing what it's able to do and how to integrate it into life and to see what role it could play. And I was one of the early adopters in my family. My brother, by the way, my older brother, who I've mentioned before in terms of poetry, he's the one that's early adopter in technology of any kind, and he is the throughput to a lot of these stories because he's the one that introduced me to ChatGPT. He's the one that introduced me to the AI tool that I use for my music right now.
Right.
But I started using ChatGPT, and uh, I found it very useful because AI is something that it's like rain. It's not good or bad. It's great for some, it's bad for others. It's how do you use it?
Yeah.
And for those people who start relying on AI so they think less, then it becomes a deterrent.
Mm.
For me, I found AI was a blessing because it allowed me to think more and then give some tasks like research and other things to ChatGPT so it can create some of the things that I really didn't want to do myself because I found it tedious.
Yeah.
So I got back into the thinking mode and really it allowed me to flourish. And I came up with so many new ideas because it really gave me time to think. So AI from the beginning for me was as a wonderful tool to help flush out ideas where I can be in the driving seat from the thinking perspective, and AI can be doing the grunt work.
Love that. Right on track with that. Zena says, "Awesome, Ellen. How would a singer collab with you as a songwriter?"
Yeah.
That's a great question, Zena. We're going to talk to Alan about that. PM Popcorn. Hey, PM Popcorn. I need to get my popcorn from you. Good to be able to see you over there on IG. Send me a DM, PM, so I can make sure to reach out to you. Zena also says AI is a great tool for creatives if used correctly. So let's talk about that because I think this is interesting. When you and I can't remember exactly how it came up, Alan, to be quite honest with you. I know you had told me you and I were communicating on Facebook, and you had told me about some songs that you had done or some music you had done, and asked me if I would be
Yes.
interested in listening to it. So let's go back. How did you first start with the connecting of your love of words, like we talked about in the beginning, and writing, and how AI could help you when it comes to creating music?
Yeah, Zena and other creatives listening, you'll certainly appreciate this. But my main worry, and the part that did not happen for me for many years, is the fact that I could never hear my songs. I wrote the lyrics and I had many lyrics, but I never had the fulfillment aspect of it, of knowing what it actually sounds like. I think it's good, but I have no idea. And AI played a amazing role into allowing me to have that. So, Key and my brother, who introduced me to Suno.ai, and I decided to give it a try. It was December 2nd of last year when it happened, and I took one of my jazz numbers, and I wanted to see, well, can it really do anything? And I plugged in my lyrics. I gave it a prompt. I said, it's a jazz number. This is the tempo. This is what I'm looking at, and that's called a style for Suno, and I pressed create. And then I cried shortly after because for the first time in my life, I was able to hear my words sung.
Wow.
And that changed everything. And since that time, I never stopped writing, including this morning, I finished another song. So AI for me in this case became a tool of visualization because I have lyrics. This is what I do. I am a songwriter, lyricist, and then I have a creative understanding of the type of genre, the type of rhythm, the type of vocals that I'm looking for, and the type of accompaniment. And then Suno is able to actually create that arrangement and then reproduce the voice and give me a professionally done song demo, which is private. And I think we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But for an artist, as a lyricist myself, Suno became a visualization partner that allows me to actually see the fruits of those efforts.
I love that. In hearing you talk, Alan, again, like I said, I've never in my 23 years that I've been doing broadcasting and doing interviews, I've never had conversations like this. Again, because for one, I tell people the reason why I think I enjoy what I do is because I normally talk about things that I enjoy, but I also like the fact that there are things that are of interest just because of people's perspectives and opinions. And I should mention, Alan's going to be a part of a very special issue of Conversations magazine. And I have to shout out Chris Irvin, who's our graphic designer for the magazine. He has been now for close to 18 years. He came to me with an idea, Alan, about doing something with AI last year. And I
Mhm,
said, you know what? Let's shelve that because again, I'm very transparent in the fact that I don't talk about what I don't know. And since
mhm,
I had no point of reference when it comes to I didn't see how that could work. But then more and more I started hearing from people in that were authors or in business. And then of course with you with music. And I thought, you know what, this may be something to do. So Alan's going to be a part of a special AI edition of our magazine we're doing, talking about the different ways people are using this. So you mentioned just writing today, Alan. Uh,
mhm.
I know because you were able to trust me to be able to hear and enjoy. you write music in different genres as well. And I think our audience should know that there's not just one genre. How many songs have you written at this point?
6, 7. Sorry, it's actually 67 songs that
Okay.
I have at this point in terms of
Gotcha.
unique song titles, and it's 120 genre placements
Wow.
because the question of what genre do I belong in, it doesn't work like that because when I write the lyrics, some lyrics I know are going to be a rock song because that's the energy that's in it. Some are going to be a lot more playful and it's going to be a Broadway song. So I have rock, I have Broadway, I have some reggae. I know you liked one of my reggae songs, which I
Mhm.
love as well.
Yeah.
I did not set out to write a reggae song, but as I was writing it, and then using Suno as that visualization and saying, okay, I want to see what this sounds like as a reggae song, it fit really, really well.
Yeah.
So to answer the question in terms of genres, my primary genres so far are adult contemporary inspirational. That has the largest number of songs. And then rock, jazz, and R&B are the ones that are the rounding up the top four, but it's really seems to be the top 6 or 7 genres that I write a lot of things in.
Yeah.
I surprise myself because I have country numbers, and I'm not necessarily a country uh, fan that listens to it all the time. I appreciate it when I hear it,
Right.
but when a song comes out, I know what a country song is, and then it goes into that genre. So it's been an amazing discovery of myself and where things fit.
Love that. And I love the 6-7 reference there as well. Let me reset real quick. I see you guys coming in. Have over 700 of you guys over on Amazon. I want to say welcome. Y'all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting this for our social media audience on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram. We also are doing this because we're talking about a special topic. We also have our radio station piped in as well. So shout out to you guys at Max WYED 94.1 FM and WYEDonline.com. We're glad that you all can be with us as well. Allen Vaysberg is our guest for today. Allen, someone who's been a friend of mine now for years. I'm not going to say how many years because I'm not old enough to be friends with him as long as I have.
Yeah.
but Allen is the author of the book you guys see over there on Amazon, The New Love Triangle. He's also an actor. He's a media personality himself. He has his own podcast as well as a songwriter. We're talking with him about his love of creating and what that's been like for him, but also this year, how he's really leaning into his songwriting and being able to share that with the world. I'm going to tell you guys how that is as well. Stacy says, congratulations to you over there on Facebook. And Zena says, that's awesome. Congratulations to you. And she also says, I've heard of that app, but hadn't tried it yet. So now we're going to get into an interesting part of this conversation, Allen. And actually, let me put up Stacy's question because it kind of leads into it. Stacy says, when using AI, do you own your music? Can you monetize off it? Do you have to disclose assisted by AI? That's a great question. Allen, I'll throw that over to you.
Yeah. So thank you. It's a wonderful question, and for me, the way that I use it, and I believe that everybody has to make their own decisions and what they feel is right for them. And I am not here to say what's right and wrong for somebody else. I can only tell you for myself. From my perspective, I have deep love and appreciation for the artists, the producers, the musicians, the composers, and all of the people in the music industry. So, what I use AI for, in this case, Suno as the tool, I use it for visualizations, I use it for proof of concept demos, and all of these are private. I do not plan on releasing any of them to the public, and I do not plan on monetizing these specific sound recordings. What I am using this for, and that goes to one of the questions before, is I'm using this that allows this private pitching to be available for collaborations and for me to show the artists and the producers and the ARs of here's what these songs can sound like in these specific genres. Um, I consider many of them tier ones. So technically, and without naming artists, but I write for specific artists in mind. the artist can listen to it and say, I love this. I really wouldn't want to change much. And then they do it themselves and they can cut it and use it. So Suno does give me the right to have ownership because the music is not mine. I did not create the arrangement. So where I come in from the ownership perspective is that these are 100% my lyrics. These are not AI lyrics. These are my lyrics. And by the way, ChatGPT, love ChatGPT, not good in lyrics. It constantly is trying to suggest lyrics, and I constantly lovingly asking to stop. So these are my lyrics.
Yeah.
This is my creative direction, as in this is the type of genre, this is the type of voice, this is the raspiness or the musicality I want, this is the tempo, this is the arrangement style, this is how intimate or large and cinematic it feels, right? This is where I come in. The rest is done by Suno. So can you monetize off it? I know some people do. And then they take what they produce in Suno and then they put it up and then they load it into many platforms
Mhm.
and it's getting views, which is wonderful for them.
Yeah.
I do not plan on doing that. I want to
Uh,
work with the industry and share that as a way to show my vision.
Yeah. And that's why I think your perspective on this. And when Alan and I were talking, I said, okay, Alan, we need to have you on the show to talk about this, even though I've never done this before, because I find this fascinating. Full disclosure, and I've told Alan this, and of course the public knows it because I talk about them. I am the publicist and manager of two individuals who have created music, and with their lyrics, like Alan. Both of them, though, I should mention, and Alan, I don't know if I mentioned this part to you. Both of them are singers, though they
Yeah.
are singers, but they have been able to create music and being able to use Suno and doing so, and they are monetizing it. In fact, it's here on. It's so fun. I went in, Alan, the other day to do a reel, and I get to use their music on my reels on Facebook and Instagram. you know,
Amazing.
it's right there. So I want to talk about this conversation, though, Alan, a little bit more in your perspective, because I find this very interesting. So if let's just say Zena, because Zena's here and Zena asked the question about working.
Yeah.
Who is the audience for you? Is it the artists themselves? Is it management? How does that part work?
Yeah, and that's a perfect question. And thank you again, Zena, for asking it. My audience for these created demos specifically, when we're talking about the proof of concept ones, it's
Mhm.
not the public. My audience are the artists. My
Okay,
audience are the ARs. My audience are the labels, the producers, and the managers.
got
Those are the people who I am giving these to on a private sharing basis in
it.
secure links. Because if they like it, then we can collaborate and we can actually cut it for real. So instead of just sending them lyrics,
Mhm.
for those who are interested, they get a chance to see those lyrics visualized. And that's the way that
Love
I'm looking at it.
love that. So let's talk about then how this works for you then, because in everything else that you're doing, everything else you're doing is so public, right? In this area, definitely going to let you tell our audience how they can be able to, if they fit that criteria, then being an artist, being someone working with an artist, how they can contact you. What has this been like for you in balancing this with everything else you're doing when it comes to this new hat of not only being a songwriter, but offering this service to artists?
It's been exhilarating and at the same time stifling because I write something and then I create it and I have a great jazz version of it or I have an amazing rock version of it.
Mhm.
I want to share, I want to put this up everywhere and I want to let people know, look at this.
Yeah.
Or I write something and it fits to a T a specific artist and it's her rhythm, it's her styling. I write it for her and it's perfect. And I just wish that I can get it to her. So that part,
Yeah.
I have to admit, is stifling and frustrating, but so what, right? This is the music business, and I embrace it. On
Yeah.
the other hand, it's incredibly exhilarating because the truest connection with who I am is lyrics, and finally having a way to hear it on my own and share it with the local, limited group of people has been amazing, because so far everybody that has heard them,
Mhm.
um, they all said the same thing, and it's usually is, Alan, this is what you're meant to do, and please continue doing it.
Yeah.
And it's been like finding myself all over again, and I haven't been this, energetic and driven. I don't remember when, and think December 2nd up till now, it's 120 fully produced demos.
Wow.
Um, that's the type of energy behind it. So
Love it. I think I agree with what they told you, Ellen. The only other thing, because of the way my mind works, is my thought was, you need to put this out. Wait,
I know. Yeah,
wait,
I
because
know.
I've heard several of the songs. I took the time
Yeah.
to listen and re-listen, and I thought, wow, this would be really, because I mean, and not to get into this debate, but there are so many songs out there, and I smile because of my friends in the industry will tell me that are so popular right now that people think were created by artists, and they're it's AI, and the
Yeah.
people, but here's the bigger part, I think. It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters to them. I think they just like the songs. I think they
Sure.
like the words, and you see them using them in reels. And I'm thinking about one in particular, this song, more of a gospel inspirational, God Don't Play About Me. A lot of people hear that song and they think that's it's a real artist. It's not a real artist, but people love that song so much because they love the words of it. And I think it really says a lot. So for yourself then, Alan, for our audience out there, if they're listening to us here on the Amazon side, or they're listening to us on social media, if there is someone, again, I want you to tell them in your words, because I want to make sure we get this clear. Tell
Mhm.
them what it is that you have available, who it's for, and how they can be able to connect with you.
And thank you. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
What I have and what I've been creating and will continue to create is an unreleased catalog filled with multiple genres. I think it's 10 genres right now. I can look that up if we need to at the moment, but it's specifically proof of concept demos. So what you can do if you're listening to this and you're an artist and you're interested in collaborating is just reach out. Let's look through the catalog. Let's see if something fits you and grabs you, and let's working it together.
And so for those individuals then that are, again, are artists or work with
Mhm.
artists, um, what is the best way for them to connect with you, Alan?
Yeah, the best way would be either social media, and we're talking, Instagram or Meta. It's at Allen Inspirer, easy to find, or just reach out via my email. It's allen.vaysberg@gmail.com, or just look up my name. There are only two Allen Vaysbergs in this world. One is a wonderful lawyer in LA, and I'm the other guy.
There you go. Well, and we'll be tagging you, of course, across all the social, including on IG. I want to bring up what Zena says, and I love this, Zena. And I'm so glad to have you here to share your perspective. And I had no idea that you were going to be joining us live, so I appreciate that. Zena says that app is great for what you're using it for. And then she says, I totally see how it's helping you complete the demos much quicker. Then she adds this. It's working great for what you're doing. As a singer, I used to get paid to record demos for writers, so the app, if used by many, would replace singers. But I think it's so interesting. That's why these conversations, I think, will be fascinating, Alan, because I totally get your perspective of how you're using it, and why you're not making it available for the world to listen to, even though I wish you would. But just thought I'd say that. But I
Thank
also
you.
love the fact there are people like Zena who have the fears, and that really, I think, plays into why you're choosing to do it the way you're doing it. Is that right?
I do, because I love, put aside me as a writer and a lyricist.
Mhm.
I love music. I love going to concerts. I follow, musicians, and when they come to Chicago, I go watch them. I listen to music all the time. I love their voices. Why would I want to take away their livelihood? And it's their voices that are bringing life to my songs. I want to work with them, never against them.
Love that. Stacy says, "Okay, your work is marketing you and helps with marketing to the clients you use." Yeah, and I think that's it. And I love again that you're able to do it the way that you're comfortable. And then, like you mentioned, other people, have made other decisions. And I think that's the interesting thing about having these thoughtful conversations. Is because then we're able to hear from the individuals, and then, of course, to be able to let people decide what works best for them. Alan, I'm so excited for you. I cannot wait for the world to be able to enjoy the words you've been able to put together, and to be able to share them in music. And if you don't mind, once again, let our audience know how they can connect with you and stay abreast with any updates as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. The easiest way is just follow me on social media. I do look at DMs. At least at this point, I have enough time to go through and connect with everybody. It's
Mhm.
at Allen Inspirer, or just email me at allen.vaysberg@gmail.com.
Love it. Well, Ellen, my friend, thank you again. Really appreciate the time. Congratulations on all the great things you're doing, and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you very much, Cyrus. I really appreciate you having me on, and thank you everybody for listening.
Yeah. And we thank your audience as well for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents or Conversations Live if you're joining us on the radio side. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.